I'm going to tell you two stories about two wealthy individuals that I have worked with. True stories. And in telling you the stories, I want you to see how the wealthy people process the world, how they think about the world, how they think about what is going on in the world right now so differently. In fact, it's my interaction with them that eventually made it clear that the difference between us and them is the way they think, is the way they see things. The way wealthy people see things is not the way other people see things. Story number one. It was in 2007. I was preparing to leave Shell. I left Shell in 2008. In 2007, I had assignment in Netherlands, in Shell International Office in Rijswijk in Netherlands. And while I was in Netherlands, I had an epiphany. And many of you who follow me have heard this story a number of times. I loved the job I was doing for Shell. I was the GIS specialist for SNEPCO. I loved that work. But for some reason, I lost passion. I just lost interest in that work. My heart was yearning, for more things. But the fear was there because, like, if I leave Shell, what am I going to do with my life? So what I did while I was in Holland, I took my journal, drew a line in the middle, and said, first of all, the thing I did, the first thing before I did that one, was to ask myself, what were the 100 things I want to achieve before I die? That exercise changed my life. And for many of you who have been asking me, Ogbo, how did you muster the courage to quit such a lucrative job that everybody wanted and then you left? How did you muster the courage? That was how. So I said, what are the 100 things I wanted to achieve before I died? I didn't just want it to be like, oh, okay, this guy had a great job in Shell. He built big houses in the village. He sent his children to school abroad. And then that's it. When I die, that's it. That's it. That's all the people will say. I felt that my life was much, 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 much bigger than that. So, but of course, having said that, I am most grateful for my career with Shell and with Chevron because I learned so much, not just about working in the oil industry, but I learned so much about life. I learned so much about leadership. I learned so much about structure. I learned so much about human psychology, about relationships working in Shell than I could have ever done in an MBA class. Okay, so I now made a list of the things I wanted to achieve before I die. I recommend that you do that exercise. What are the 100 things that you must achieve before you die? That exercise is going to change your life. Because when I had it written down, the next question I asked myself was, wait a minute, if these are the 100 things I want to achieve, to consider my life having been well lived by the time I'm dying, am I on the path to accomplishing them with this present career? And the answer was no. The answer was no. Okay, so that was now when I took out my journal and drew a line in the middle. And then I said, okay, if I stay in Shell in the next 10 years, that's one side. So what were the pros and the cons? And then on this other side, if I left Shell, if I quit Shell in the next 10 years, what would be the pros and the cons? And then when I looked at both sides, I discovered that staying in Shell was risky. Leaving was also risky. So I decided to go the direction that aligned with the 100 things I want to achieve before I die. All right. So I started planning some kind of transition because what eventually happened and how I left was Shell had what they call SVS, Selective Voluntary Severance, or something like that. And so I took that package in 2008 and then left. So, but before I did, I was thinking about what businesses would I do and all that. And I happened to have a billionaire friend, a mentor at the time. The man was so kind to give me his time. Very, very wealthy individual, very, very well known. If I mention his name, all of you will know him. So he took interest in me and gave me his time. And during one of our meetings, I said I had a business plan and I wanted to run that plan by him. So he said, yeah, send it to me. So I sent the business plan to him. That was 2007. This man took one look at this business plan and he said, Ogbo, I've never seen such a myopic business plan all my life. Look, I was shocked. I was taken aback. So, wow. Because listen, I was a shell boy. I was shell guy. I was big. So you can imagine, I was already thinking that plan was big. This billionaire took a look at it and said, I've never seen such a myopic. That was what he said. So I think I was a little bit deflated. But I said, I should have shut up. But I said, well, I'm still working in Shell. So I didn't want to make it big. Because if I made it too big, I won't have time. Because I wanted to run it like a side hustle, so that by the time I'm leaving Shell and getting into it, I could make it big. He shook his head and said that the energy it takes to think small is exactly the same energy it takes to think big. Did you hear what I just said? I'd never heard anything like that. He said the energy it will take to make it small is exactly the same energy it's going to take me to make it big. So why not just make it big? So that was the beginning of my introduction to how wealthy people think. Listen, when you see these billionaires, I plead with you. I mean, real billionaires. I'm not talking about people, who are putting their hands in all kinds of things, and then people whose wealth we cannot trace. This guy is an investor, he's an industrialist, so his source of wealth is known, is open, and he's an international authority when it comes to investing, just like Warren Buffett. He said the energy it takes to think small is exactly the same energy it takes to think big. So why not just do things big? Guys, this is how wealthy individuals think. This is how billionaires think. That changed my life. Story number 2. I was consulting for this other billionaire. He has business concerns in, as at that time, 7 different countries. So he had this company, this manufacturing concern at Nnewi. So I was consulting for him for a year or 2. And then he now gave me a job to do, which has something to do with the remodeling of the factory. So the flow of activities, the flow of materials and men and all kinds of things in the whatever. He just wanted the whole floor, a different layout, and then to optimize it so that production could go better, and so that all the Lean Six Sigma principles, safety and all that, we could implement all that. So this guy gave me this project. But at the time, the managing director in that company had someone else that he wanted to do that job. So he was making it very, very difficult for me and my team. He was not giving us data. We needed data. He was not giving us data. We would fly from Lagos to Nnewi, fly to his office. Nnewi, this man would keep us waiting in his office. 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. He just keep us waiting somewhere. He would not talk to us. And he did this repeatedly. He was not giving us the information. He was not giving us access to do the work, to get the work done. So at some point, I now vexed, like Nigerians say, vexed. I didn't care again. So I wrote them one stinking letter, and which I regret this day. So I wrote a very stinking email and said, look, I'm done with this nonsense. We are here to do this project. You are not cooperating, whatever. So I just said, listen, I'm done. Now, this billionaire got wind of it, that I had quit. Then he sent for me. So I went to his office in Lekki Phase 1 at the time. When I met him, when I sat face to face, this guy locked his eyes into my eyes. It may have just been a second, but it looked like eternity. His eyes were piercing. It was like directly into me. And then he was quiet, just looking at me. Then after some time, he said, I thought you were a man. He said, I thought you were a man. By this time I didn't know, for some reason, maybe because of the way he had locked his eyes. So I started sweating a little bit, but I wasn't sure what next was to come. So I started saying, listen, sir, we actually went there to do the job. Your managing director didn't give us access, was wasting our time. We had gone there a couple of times. We fly to Lagos. He would not give us information. He was not whatever. He clearly does not want us to do the whatever. So he's not giving us access. This guy looked at me again, this time firmly and angry. He said, I thought you were a man. So I gave you a job to do, and you are coming back to give me an excuse not to do it. How? I'm like, didn't this man hear what I said? That his managing director wouldn't give us. He said, I told you to do a job and you are quitting. You are coming back to tell me you cannot do it. That was another thing I learned about the billionaire's mindset. They mean business. When they ask you to do things, they hate excuses. When they want to do something, they get it done. They find a way to solve problems. These people are problem solvers. It might take them time, because he now sat me down, told me several stories. In fact, let me tell one before we round it off, so that you get the idea about this people's mindset. There was a gentleman. That's another thing I learned about billionaires. They sponsor people. They sponsor people into government. They sponsor senators. They sponsor governors. So this guy told how he sponsored one guy to become the governor of a state. And he said, while they were campaigning, this guy was in his house every day, licking his boots. He was in his house, morning, day, afternoon, night, he was there. So he sponsored him. The guy became governor. When he became governor, he became difficult to reach. This man couldn't reach him again. The billionaire couldn't reach him again. Oh, governor said, I'm busy and all that. But he didn't mind. And he said that there's a particular time that he wanted to meet with him. And he went there. They said governor didn't have time to see him, but that he should wait in the guest house. This was the guy who sponsored him, and he became a governor. He told me, Ogbo, this man did not see me day 1, day 2, day 3. He kept him in the guest house for 3 days. It was on the 3rd day that he came to, that he called him to meet briefly with him, the guy that he sponsored. I was shocked, because you would imagine that the billionaire would be saying, who do you think you are? I was the one who made you. I was the one. If you hear people talk like that on social media, they don't have money. They don't know nothing. They are not wealthy. I just see all this bragging and all this whatever. I was the one who made you. I was the one who made you governor. And now you are keeping me 3 days. I'm calling you. You're not picking my call. No, this man did not do that. He quietly waited. He said, all I want is, no matter how long it's going to take, what I want is to get what I want. And so he was ready to completely ignore all the shenanigans, all the whatever. He was patient. He patiently waited 3 days. I said, wow. But guess what? It's we, the poor people, who brag, who have this over-bloated sense of who we think we are. And then we would have stormed out of the place. Look at you. I can't do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, billionaires think differently. They think big. They don't think small. Number 2, when they set out to do something, nothing stops them. They execute. They go all in. They take no. They don't take no for an answer. You don't tell a billionaire. A billionaire doesn't tell you to do something, and you say no, you cannot do. You come back to give him excuses. Fortunately, we were able to get it done after he now spoke to me, and then we went there, and then we got it done. And then number 3, they are very patient. They are very patient. Jeff Bezos started Amazon. I believe it was 1993 or 1994. And the guy waited patiently. They didn't take profit. He was just building the business until it became massive and big. He was patient. And there was a time, I think it was 2004, that Amazon acquired like literally 2-3 companies every day or every week, 4 companies every week. And he said they typically are not in a hurry to see profit until about 5, 6, 7 years. The billionaires are patient. They are not into all this get rich quick mentality that many of our young people get taken today. So tell me, comment in the section, in the comment section. Just tell me, what was your aha moment? What really touches you? What touched you very much from today's session, from all the things I've told you? What else do you know about billionaires that is very, very different, from the rest of us? Because if you want to build wealth, we have to do it we have to do it the right way. This thing is not about rituals. There are laws. And when we get mentored by them, when we follow these principles, we will get exactly the same results that they did. Meantime, if you haven't enrolled in the Financial Fitness Challenge, you are losing money already. It is 125,000 Nigerian naira to sign up, but right now there's early bird of 105,000 to sign up. Send a message, a DM to me right now, and then request for the enrollment. Or you can send a WhatsApp message to +234 8088 000 111. So let me say that again. +234 8088 000 111. And whatever happens, keep showing up, because you never know what's coming your way next. And I'll talk to you same time tomorrow.